Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Masala Chai and Chess with Nisha. Has it ever happened to you that you have a favorite player and when you actually get to meet him, you ask yourself, is he my favorite? Really? It has happened to me many a times. Life is the greatest teacher and experience has taught me that a great player and a great human beings are two different things. We must not confuse between them. But there is one player who proves my wisdom wrong. He is not only one of the greatest players that I know of personally, but he is an amazing human being. I'm talking about Grandmaster Sandipan Chanda, and you all will recall his double rook sacrifice game that we saw in the first episode of Masala Chai series. So today let's have a look at another gem of our gem Sandipan. And yes, don't forget your cup. This was the year 2007. It was the penultimate round of the Canadian Open and Sandipan was paired against Grandmaster Sandipan, a Russian grandmaster who has been representing the Netherlands since 1997. Tivyakov had been world under-18 champion, Dutch champion and had a very strong rating of 2648. So undoubtedly he was a very strong player at that time. Sandipan annotated this game for two extremely famous publications at that time, Chess Informant and New in Chess. Very interesting is that Sandipan's opponent Tivyakov himself told Sandipan to send the analysis for the New in Chess magazine. So let's get started with the game. D4 was played, Sandipan is white. Knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, b6. So we have the Queen's Indian on the board. G3, bishop b7, bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, castles, d5, ed5, knight h4. So this is a pawn sacrifice line in which white gets lot of activity. c6, c into d5, knight into d5. We see that this knight on h4 is attacked. So white plays knight f5, knight c7, e4, d5. All this was known to theory. Knight c3, bishop f6, e into d5, c into d5, bishop f4, attacking the c7 knight, putting some pressure on the d5 pawn, knight ba6. In chess, there's always more than one playable move possible in the position. Sandipan knew here that there exists knight d6 and rook e1. Knight d6 was more drawish in nature, whereas rook e1 was complicated. However, in rook e1, Sandipan knew just one game, that's it. He didn't know anything more than that. And that one game was a game of Kasparov. So we'll have a look at that game very soon. Let's see how this game went. Sandipan chose the complicated move rook e1. So he wanted to fight. Here, Tivyakov played a very natural move which happens to be a mistake. Queen d7. Better in this position was bishop c8. I keep seeing this in so many games that I show. Like the bishop needs to be regrouped and the diagonal of the bishop needs to be changed. So even here, an undeveloping move bishop c8 is a right way to play. But Tivyakov played the most natural looking move, Queen D7. So let's see why this natural looking move is not correct. Bishop H3. This is a reason why Queen D7 is not precise. Now white is threatening, knight H6, and the D7 queen falls. Here, the best move for black is to play Queen D8. Like black has to say, okay, I made a mistake, I admit it, and I come back. But we all know that in life and in chess, admitting mistake and rectifying the mistake is very, very tough. So, in this position, Tivyakov played knight e6. But before we see the continuation of the game, we need to see a very important game. This was the game Kasparov versus Marjanovic. I'm not sure pronouncing it correctly. Marjanovic maybe. And Kasparov is white. His opponent played King H8. This is Kasparov's opponent. We need to see this game because this was the game that Sandipan knew, and this was the only thing Sandipan knew in this particular line. King H8 was played. Kasparov played a very nice move here. Knight E4. He's attacking the F6 bishop, but is leaving the B2 pawn unguarded. Kasparov's opponent Marjanovic took bishop B2. Please note here that this pawn is pinned, so D4 is not possible. Bishop B2, and Kasparov played knight G5. We see Kasparov's pieces going near black's king, and here he's threatening some moves like Queen H5 and a lot of problems for black here. So black played Queen C6. The point is that black wants to defend with Queen G6 for Queen H5. So white played knight E7, Queen F6, and here Kasparov played a very nice move, very alert, knight H7. We know this typical tactics that King H7 is met with Queen H5. This knight on E7, this queen on H5 is creating a problem for the black king. So after knight H7, black played Queen D4, Queen H5 coming towards the black king, G6 was played, Queen H4, knight F6 is a serious threat, Bishop A1, knight F6, and Marjanovic resigned because, if here King G7, there's two ways to mate into. The easiest would be knight F5, Gf5, Queen H6, checkmate. So this was the final position of Kasparov's game. So this idea we see in Kasparov's game, knight E4, giving the B2 pawn, and then going knight G5, threatening Queen H5 and attacking the black king. Now let's see how the knowledge of this game helped Sandipan in creating his own brilliancy. So Bishop H3 was played here, and Tivyakov played knight E6 so that he does not lose the queen immediately. Sandipan knew this knight E4 idea, so he played knight E4. Note that this pawn on d5 is pinned. It cannot move. The queen on d7 is not supported. Bishop b2 was played. Here Sandipan played rook b1. Tivakov played bishop c8. So what he is doing is he supports the queen and also brings in more support for the e6 knight, and he is threatening d into e4 now that the queen on d7 is supported. So the knight on e4 is under attack now. White played knight g5. Tivakov played bishop f6. Queen h5 was played, and white is threatening a mate in 1 with queen h7. So black took bishop into g5, bishop into g5, and rook e8. Now here I want you to really take a moment and think what you would play here, because the next move is simply brilliant. Sandipan played a very amazing move here, and that's the reason I'm showing this game. I really like that move. He picked up his bishop and put it in the mouth of opponent's pawn. Simply brilliant. All he wants to do is weaken the black's king position, weaken the dark squares near black's king. If you all have seen the first episode of Masala Chai, you can recall that in that game, Sandipan versus Himanshu game, Sandipan did something similar. He sacrificed 2 rooks to weaken the dark squares near opponent's king, and here he sacrifices his bishop. So typical of Sandipan, no? So here white is threatening to take knight into g7, as this knight is, on e6 it is pinned. It cannot move. So opponent took g into f6 and queen h6 was played. If you look at this position, you will realize that suddenly black is paralyzed. Now all white needs to do is, he needs to bring this rook maybe somewhere on g4 or h4, and it will be game over. So knight a c5 was played. Now here you might have a question as to what happens if black does not move this knight from a6. So for example, let's have a look at a move bishop b7. Queen f6 can be played. This was not played. I'm just showing a variation as to what white could do if black did not move the a6 knight. So just showing you a sample variation. Queen f6, knight a c5, knight h6 check, king h8, bishop into e6, knight into e6, knight f5. Queen h8 is a mate threat here. So king g8, rook into e6, there is a mate on g7. So f into e6, and now there is a mate with knight h6. Dark squares. Okay, so in this position, Tivakov played knight a c5. Sandipan played rook d1. Rook b to d1. Queen b7. And here, Sandipan made use of this immobile knight and he played rook d4, and the white rook is now heading towards the king side, maybe to g4, maybe to h4. It's game over after that. So knight e4 was played, blocking the d4 rook's path. Rook e into e4, the second sacrifice in the game. D into e4, queen f6. If you look at this position, white is a full rook down, but white is completely winning. I mean, black can see that some threats are there and black can do nothing about it. And I always love such, positions where the opponent can see the threat but cannot defend against it. Queen c7 was played. Knight h6 check. King f8. Queen h8 check. King e7. Knight f5 checkmate. This position deserves a diagram. It's amazing to checkmate Tivyakov like this, right? You know, the turning point of this game was bishop f6, a move I simply admire. It was simply brilliant. Let me bring you that position. So from here, yes, this move, simply brilliant. I hope you all enjoyed this beautiful gem from our gem Sandipan. Let me know in the comment section below how this game was. Don't forget to like my video if you actually liked it, and become part of the journey with me by subscribing to my channel. And let's together spread this positivity over a cup of tea. Bye bye. See you soon.